In Echoes from the Past, the Pyramid Prophecy, follow the thrilling journey of Asad as he deciphers ancient clues hidden within the pyramids to prevent a catastrophic disaster. With unexpected events at every turn, this exceptional mystery novel will keep you on the edge of your seat until the very end. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay updated on more exciting content. Chapter 1: The Arrival. Asad stepped out of the time portal, disoriented and overwhelmed. He had been sent back from the year 2043 with a crucial message for humanity. As he looked around, he realized that he was in the middle of the desert, surrounded by ancient pyramids. Asad took a deep breath and surveyed his surroundings. The heat was unbearable, and he could feel the sweat running down his back. He knew that he had to find shelter soon before he succumbed to heat exhaustion. As he looked around, he noticed a group of men on horseback approaching him. "Who are you?" one of the men demanded, pointing his sword at Asad. Asad raised his hands in surrender. "My name is Asad," he said. "I come from the future with an urgent message for humanity." The men exchanged skeptical glances, but allowed Asad to explain his situation. After hearing his story, they led him to a nearby oasis where he could rest and recover. Asad knew that time was running out. He had to find a way to decipher the cryptic message he had brought back from the future before it was too late. He had a feeling that the answer lay within the pyramids that loomed in the distance. Chapter 2: The Clues Begin. After resting for a while, Asad decided to explore the area around the oasis. He knew that he had to start looking for the clues that would help him decipher the message from the future. Asad made his way towards the pyramids, his heart pounding with excitement and trepidation. The ancient structures loomed ahead, mysterious and majestic in the harsh desert landscape. Asad walked around the perimeter of the pyramids, examining the hieroglyphics and symbols etched into their surfaces. He tried to make sense of the ancient writing, but it was all gibberish to him. Just as he was about to give up, Asad noticed something strange about one of the symbols. It was a small notch, barely visible, that seemed out of place. Asad leaned closer and realized that it was a tiny button. Asad pressed the button, and a hidden compartment opened up in the pyramid's surface. Inside, he found a small piece of parchment with a message written in a language he did not recognize. Asad felt a shiver run down his spine. He knew that he had stumbled upon something significant, something that would change the course of history forever. Chapter 3: The Linguist. Asad stared at the parchment, trying to make sense of the strange symbols and characters. He knew that he needed help to decipher the message from the future. Asad remembered meeting a linguist during his travels in the Middle East, and he decided to seek out her expertise. He made his way to her residence, a small house tucked away in a quiet street. Asad knocked on the door, and a woman with piercing green eyes answered. "Hello," she said. "What brings you here?" Asad explained his situation and showed her the parchment. The linguist's eyes widened as she examined the message. "This is ancient Sumerian," she said. "It's a language that hasn't been spoken for thousands of years." Asad felt a glimmer of hope. "Can you translate it?" he asked. The linguist nodded. "It will take some time, but I can do it. Come back in a few hours." Asad thanked her and made his way back to the oasis, his mind racing with possibilities. He knew that he was on the cusp of a discovery that could change everything. As he waited for the linguist to finish her work, Asad wondered what the message from the future could be. He felt a growing sense of unease, as if something terrible was about to happen. Chapter 4: The Translation. Asad returned to the linguist's residence a few hours later, anxious to hear her translation of the message from the future. The linguist greeted him at the door and led him to her study. She handed him a sheet of paper with the translated text. Asad's heart raced as he read the message. The end is near. A disaster of epic proportions is about to befall humanity. The only hope lies within the pyramids. Find the clues, decipher the message, and prevent the disaster before it's too late. Asad felt a chill run down his spine. He knew that he had to act fast if he wanted to prevent the catastrophe that was looming over humanity. But where to start? Asad realized that he needed to find more clues, more information about what was going to happen and how to prevent it. He decided to return to the pyramids, hoping that he would find more hidden compartments and messages that would guide him on his quest. Asad knew that time was running out. He had to work fast if he wanted to save the world from the disaster that lay ahead. Chapter 5. The First Clue. Asad made his way back to the pyramids, his mind racing with possibilities. He knew that he had to find the clues that would lead him to the solution, but where to start? As he walked around the pyramids, Asad noticed something strange about the way the sun was shining on the stones. It was as if there was a pattern, a code hidden within the way the light was falling on the pyramids. Asad studied the pattern for a while, trying to make sense of it. Suddenly, he realized that the pattern was pointing towards a specific pyramid, one that was slightly smaller than the others. Asad made his way to the smaller pyramid, his heart pounding with excitement. He examined the stones, searching for any clues that would lead him closer to the solution. Just as he was about to give up, Asad noticed a small inscription on the side of the pyramid. It was in a language he did not recognize, but he could tell that it was important. Asad took a photo of the inscription and showed it to the linguist. She recognized the language as ancient Mayan and began translating it. Asad waited anxiously for the translation, wondering what secrets the Mayan inscription held. Chapter 6. The Mayan Inscription. Asad paced back and forth as the linguist worked on translating the Mayan inscription. He felt a sense of urgency, as if time was running out. Finally, the linguist handed him a sheet of paper with the translation. Beyond the sands, beneath the stars, a path to the future hidden in the past. Seek the signs that point the way, and find the knowledge that will save the day. Asad studied the translation, trying to make sense of the cryptic message. He knew that he had to find the signs that would lead him to the knowledge he needed. But where to start? Asad realized that he needed to explore the desert beyond the pyramids, searching for any clues that would point him in the right direction. He packed a bag with supplies and set out into the desert, determined to find the answers he sought. As he walked, Asad noticed strange symbols etched into the sand. He followed the symbols, hoping that they would lead him closer to the solution. After hours of walking, Asad saw a glimmer of light in the distance. He quickened his pace, hoping that he had finally found what he was looking for. Chapter 7. The Secret Oasis. As Asad approached the glimmer of light in the distance, he realized that it was a hidden oasis tucked away in the midst of the desert. He rushed towards it, his heart pounding with excitement. As he entered the oasis, he saw a small pool of water, surrounded by lush green plants and trees. But that wasn't what caught his attention. There, in the center of the oasis, was a large stone tablet with strange symbols etched into it. Asad approached the tablet, his heart racing with anticipation. He studied the symbols, trying to make sense of them. Suddenly, he realized that the symbols were pointing towards a specific direction. He followed the path indicated by the symbols, hoping that he would find the answers he sought. After a few hours of walking, Asad came upon a small cave. He cautiously entered the cave, not knowing what he would find. Inside, he saw a small chamber with a single pedestal in the center. On top of the pedestal was a small box. Asad cautiously approached the box and opened it. Inside, he found a small scroll with a message written on it. 3 pyramids, 3 keys. Unlock the knowledge that will set us free. Find the keys and save us all, before the darkness consumes us whole. Asad realized that he had found the next clue in his quest to prevent the impending disaster. Chapter 8. The 3 Keys. Asad knew that he had to find the 3 keys that would unlock the knowledge he needed to prevent the disaster. But where to start? He remembered the strange symbols he had seen in the desert and realized that they might hold the key to finding the first key. Asad returned to the desert and followed the symbols, hoping that they would lead him closer to the solution. After hours of walking, Asad saw a glimmer of light in the distance. He quickened his pace, hoping that he had finally found what he was looking for. As he approached the source of the light, Asad realized that it was a small cave. He cautiously entered the cave, not knowing what he would find. Inside, he saw a small chamber with a single pedestal in the center. On top of the pedestal was a small box. Asad cautiously approached the box and opened it. Inside, he found a small key with strange symbols etched into it. Asad knew that this was one of the 3 keys he needed. He pocketed the key and set out to find the other 2. Days turned into weeks as Asad searched for the other 2 keys. He traveled through the desert, exploring every nook and cranny, but he could not find the keys. Just when Asad was about to give up, he saw a glimmer of light in the distance. He quickened his pace, hoping that he had finally found what he was looking for. Chapter 9. The Second Key. Asad approached the source of the light and realized that it was a small temple, hidden away in the desert. He cautiously entered the temple, his heart pounding with anticipation. Inside, he saw a small chamber with a single pedestal in the center. On top of the pedestal was a small box. Asad approached the box and opened it. Inside, he found the second key, with strange symbols etched into it. Asad knew that he was one step closer to unlocking the knowledge he needed to prevent the disaster. He pocketed the key and set out to find the third and final key. Days turned into weeks as Asad searched for the third key. He explored every corner of the desert, but he could not find it. Just when Asad was about to give up, he saw a strange structure in the distance. He quickened his pace, hoping that he had finally found what he was looking for. Asad approached the structure and realized that it was a small pyramid, unlike any he had seen before. He cautiously entered the pyramid, not knowing what he would find. As he climbed the stairs, he saw a small chamber with a single pedestal in the center. On top of the pedestal was a small box. Asad cautiously approached the box and opened it. Inside, he found the third and final key, with strange symbols etched into it. Asad knew that he had found the keys he needed to unlock the knowledge that would save the day. Chapter 10. The Final Clue. Asad rushed back to the first pyramid, where he had found the first clue. He knew that he needed to use the 3 keys to unlock the knowledge that would prevent the disaster. He approached the pyramid and saw a small slot in the wall, just large enough to fit the 3 keys. Asad inserted the keys into the slot and felt a sudden rush of energy coursing through his body. He heard a loud rumbling sound and saw a small door in the wall of the pyramid opening up. Asad cautiously entered the door and saw a small chamber with a large tablet in the center. The tablet was covered in strange symbols, just like the previous ones he had found. Asad studied the symbols, trying to decipher their meaning. Suddenly, he realized that the symbols were pointing towards a specific location. He followed the path indicated by the symbols, and found himself standing before a large metal door. Asad cautiously opened the door, and saw a large room filled with strange machines and equipment. He saw a small platform in the center of the room, with a strange device attached to it. Asad approached the platform and saw a small note attached to the device. The note read, "Activate the device and save the world." Asad knew what he had to do. He activated the device and felt a sudden rush of energy coursing through his body. He heard a loud rumbling sound and saw the room around him beginning to shake. Suddenly, he felt the ground give way beneath him, and he fell into darkness. Chapter 11. The Final Countdown. Asad fell for what seemed like an eternity before finally landing on a soft surface. He slowly got up and realized that he was in a large underground cavern. Asad looked around and saw that the cavern was filled with strange machines and equipment. He realized that he had activated some kind of ancient technology that had transported him to this hidden underground facility. Asad walked around the facility, marveling at the advanced technology he saw. He saw machines that could generate unlimited power, devices that could terraform entire planets, and equipment that could manipulate time itself. But Asad knew that he had no time to waste. He needed to find a way to stop the disaster that was about to happen. He searched the facility and found a large console that seemed to control the entire operation. He sat down at the console and began to study its controls. Asad realized that the facility was some kind of time machine, capable of manipulating the past, present, and future. He studied the console carefully and realized that he had only one chance to stop the disaster. He needed to travel back in time and prevent the event that would trigger the disaster. Asad set the console to the exact time and place where the disaster was set to happen. He knew that he only had one chance to make things right. He pressed the activation button and felt a sudden jolt of energy coursing through his body. He heard a loud whooshing sound and felt himself being transported through time and space. Asad suddenly found himself back in the present day, just moments before the disaster was about to happen. He quickly made his way to the location of the disaster and saw the event that would trigger it about to occur. Asad knew what he had to do. He approached the person responsible for the event and convinced them to change their course of action. With a sigh of relief, Asad watched as the disaster was averted. He knew that he had saved the world from destruction. Chapter 12. The Aftermath. Asad sat in his hotel room, exhausted but relieved. He had saved the world from a disaster that would have destroyed everything in its path. He thought back on his journey through the pyramids, the clues he had deciphered, and the ancient technology he had discovered. It was a journey that had taken him across time and space, and had tested his limits in ways he never thought possible. Asad knew that his adventure was over, but he also knew that his life would never be the same. He had seen things that most people could only dream of, and he had been given a responsibility that would stay with him for the rest of his life. Asad took out a small notebook and began to write down his thoughts and reflections on his journey. He wanted to make sure that he never forgot the lessons he had learned. As he wrote, he realized that he had a new purpose in life. He wanted to use his knowledge and experiences to help others, to make a positive impact on the world. Asad smiled to himself, knowing that he had found his calling in life. He had been given a second chance, and he intended to make the most of it. Epilogue. Years had passed since Asad's adventure in the pyramids. He had become a renowned expert in ancient technology and had dedicated his life to using his knowledge to help others. Asad had founded an organization that was dedicated to exploring the mysteries of the past, and using that knowledge to solve the problems of the present. He had traveled the world, working with governments and organizations to find solutions to some of the world's most pressing issues. But despite all of his success, Asad never forgot the lessons he had learned in the pyramids. He knew that the key to solving the world's problems lay in understanding the past, and he continued to explore the mysteries of ancient technology. Asad often thought back on his adventure in the pyramids and the cryptic message that had started it all. He wondered if there were other prophecies, other messages from the future that were waiting to be discovered. But for now, Asad was content to focus on the present. He knew that there were still many challenges to face, but he also knew that with knowledge and determination, anything was possible. Asad smiled to himself, thinking about the adventures that lay ahead. He knew that there would always be mysteries to uncover, problems to solve, and a world to explore. The end. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe to stay up to date on the latest captivating stories.